recall the past. Mental health, a fragile thread, but we'll find strength. Let love spread. Life's a climb, just take a step. Rise above, find your breath. In the darkness we will find a shining light to free our mind, to free our mind. Self-growth blooms like petals bloom, shedding tears will heal the wounds and the chaos. Let's find peace, embrace the flame, let it release.
Relax your mind. It's divine time.
Ooh, hello to all. Welcome in. What's good? It's your boy Danli Divine. I am here again doing another episode of Divine Time. Welcome to my podcast, Divine Time, a podcast where we go over things like spiritual depth. We want to explore the depths of spiritual growth, life's most profound lessons, and also at the same time, the true purpose of love. Today, as you probably saw, I'm going to talk about self-worth. I'm just going to go ahead and start it off with a story to go ahead and begin the whole thing. This is how I used to do it when I was doing tie-ins in the Marine Corps as a martial arts instructor. And speaking of the Marine Corps, I'm going to talk about a story that happened to me personally in the Marine Corps. Now, with it, we all do things. We all go through things in life. With that, hello, how you doing? With that, I'm going to go ahead and discuss one of the things that's really made me understand and come to a better understanding of myself and the things that I have to overcome, things that I was worried about at one point in time. I've been through a lot in life, and I've learned a lot. I'm still learning. Every day you should be learning something new. But there was a time in the Marine Corps where I was going through a divorce. I was part of Charlie Company with Marine Corps Security Force at the time. I was part of Convoy, and with Convoy, we had strategic assets. That's the most I'll be able to say about that. There was a situation to where I informed the staff sergeant that I had at the time. I was like, hey, going through divorce. Now with that divorce, I'm not going to get too nitty gritty into detail on everything, but I'm just going to explain the story. I informed the staff sergeant that, hey, I'm going to be going through a divorce. He was like, all right, cool. Due to that, he was like, it's going to be a major life change. He was like, I'm going to go ahead and transfer you over to the schoolhouse. So they transferred me over to the schoolhouse. And with me going over to the schoolhouse, it was probably better for me, but also at the same time, it was the way that I took that. I took it as if I was just being discarded. I felt that I could handle the divorce and still be able to do my duties, do my job that was being asked of me. Now, going to the schoolhouse, it was interesting because, like how I just explained, that coming out of Charlie Company, it felt like I was being discarded. Now, with it, when I was announced that I was going through the divorce, it was like everybody who was around me, they kind of just like flocked straight to the wife. Not knowing everything that had happened, all that stuff. So again, just felt like I was deserted. Had no one to talk to, nothing along those lines. Now I'm in a new place and don't really have no one to talk to, no one to really deal with. That led me to understand a bad habit that I had picked up out of loneliness and frustration, not understanding what I'm going to do with my life or where I belong. I was big in partying back then, and I was big on drinking. I mean, I used to drink heavily back in the day when I was in the Marines. With that, it led me to getting a DUI. One night when I had a DD, the DD decided to go off with some girl, I guess, that kind of messed up all the plans. And with that, led me to drive my roommate back, even though I took like an extra 2 hours to make sure that I was sober enough. But I guess I wasn't. With that, upon getting arrested, I was released like that 15 minutes after processing. He just went ahead and released me and took a cab back to base. Immediately, went ahead and taught the martial arts class that I had. I was teaching martial arts at like 6 o'clock every morning, 6:30 every morning. Instead of doing PT, I was teaching martial arts. And then at about 8 o'clock, came in, told my gunny what had happened. He thought I was joking. I showed him paperwork. He was like, oh, snap, he ran up the chain. With that, ended up getting NJP, dropped down to corporal, and they ended up putting me into the Leatherneck, the company Leatherneck, which was pretty much like a glorified cafeteria. Now here I am going from sergeant to corporal, and I'm sitting there, and I feel like I am being used as an example of things that can happen. Now, mind you, I was not in a complete good headspace. I already felt like I was abandoned. I already felt like I was all alone. And then I made a stupid choice. I own up to that. I accept that. I did something stupid. And with that, I have to reap what I sow, deal with the consequences, right? Now, going into self worth, topic for today. In the self worth, first of all, let's just see what self worth is. Self worth is the internal belief that they are valuable and worthy of love and respect. At that time, my self worth felt like it was really low. The reason my self worth felt very low was because of the fact that I gave the type of individual that I was, who I was at that time, I had gave myself to the military. And with me giving myself to the military, I tried to make the military my identity. And we're going to talk about identity later on as well. I tried making the military my identity. With me making the military my identity, I lost who I was. I tried to become what they wanted me to be. And with that, who I am and what I was trying to become were conflicting with one another. Due to that, my self-worth was kind of, I had the foundation of self-worth, but at the same time, my self-esteem was so low, and I was pouring into so many other people, and there was nobody pouring into me. Now, with that, I did not, looking back at it, I should have been able to pour into myself. I should have been able to hold myself accountable, correct my actions, and push forward where I needed to go. A lot of individuals will do one of those two things. I had a junior Marine back when I was in Pendleton. He had got a DUI, dropped down from Lance Corporal to back to PFC. And when I tell you he was a magnificent Marine, he now works for Microsoft and everything. I had linked back up with him in Washington State. And this Marine went and ended up picking up sergeant in 3 years, even though he had got NJP and lost the rank that he was. He went from Lance Corporal down to PFC and then did not let that bother him, pushed forward, and still got sergeant faster than a lot of other individuals. Very hard Marine. With that, I cannot say that I was the same. With that, I let it get to me. I let it mess with my mind. I let it mess with my self-esteem. I allowed my ego to be broken, and with that, it was hard for me to recover. The way that my self-worth was feeling at that time, I did not feel as if I was needed after I got moved from Charlie Company to the schoolhouse. When everybody had ran away, I did not feel as if I was needed. I did not, looking back at it, I based who I was off of if I was needed. It seems like a whole lot of codependency. Having that self-worth is a foundation that you need to build upon. The self-worth is ultimately who you are, the way that you are going to conduct yourself. Now, with it, you have self-esteem that stacks on top of that. In the story that I just told, there are a lot of different components and a lot of ways that I was thinking, a lot of different things that were happening. I could not understand it at the time, since this was the first time a situation like that was happening to me in my life on that great of an aspect, honestly, something that was provided consequences that big that altered my life drastically. However, now looking back at it, there's a lot of things that I wish I had did differently. If I can go back in time, there's a lot of things that I would do differently. And out of hopes that it would not change my life of where I am now too much, because I love where I am now and I love the person that I have become. I still make some mistakes and hiccups every now and then, but I love who I am. I know my self-worth and I love myself enough to be able to say that. Moving on, self-esteem. Y'all heard me talk about self-esteem and how your self-worth is a foundation, and then with that, you stack on self-esteem on top of it. Self-esteem is the opinion we have of ourselves, confidence in abilities and worth. There's a lot of individuals who do not know what they want to do in life. There's a lot of individuals who do not know what their purpose is, what their talents are, or what it is that they are here to do, let alone what they want to do. There's a lot of individuals who are following the crowd. Yes, I said it. They are following the crowd. They don't seem to have a mind of their own. They're just going off of what they think is cool or what will make them fit in. My wife says all the time, she's like, look, I don't care what anybody thinks about me. It took a long time for me to reach that point. And when you realize that nobody cares about you more than you, you understand that, and you don't care about what people say or think about you. Now, the thing that's great about the self-esteem is you can have high self-esteem, you can have low self-esteem. I am always moving in the era of having high self-esteem. And with having the high self-esteem, it makes it to where I look at life in a more positive way. I'm thinking of how to get things done rather than finding reasons and excuses of why it cannot get done. Now, again, we all make mistakes. We all do things from time to time that will temporarily put us back. I think one of the biggest things to do is find that silver lining in everything that you do. And that silver lining is ultimately going to change your mind. It's going to change the way that you look at things. It's going to change your mindset ultimately. Having a high self-esteem can turn a bad rainy day into something enjoyable. You can look at a rainbow and the rain outside and find a way to turn it positive. Instead of having it and thinking about, oh, I can't do nothing today, or we were supposed to have a soccer game, now we got to run in the water and my shoes gonna get wet, I'm gonna catch a cold, whatever, whoop-de-woo. You can think about it like this. You'll look at it and be like, dang, bro, the rain's coming down. I was like, hey, they say if it ain't raining, you ain't training. It's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good. There's obstacles that I'm gonna have to overcome, and with that, it'll make me a better person overall. There's ways to look at things. For every temporary setback, that's a possibility for a major come up. Right there, having high self-esteem. Right there, changing the way that you look at things. Looking at things in an optimistic view rather than a pessimistic view. Well, since speaking of pessimism, having low self-esteem. Having low self-esteem provides a pessimistic look on life. A lot of individuals these days know what that is like. Individuals who are constantly battling and fighting depression. Individuals who have manic, depressive tendencies or disorders. Sometimes they're up, sometimes they're down. Keeping that mindset, love me some me, forget the diamonds and pearls, I'm a ruby and platinum girl. There you go. Big up, respect on that. So, I mean, having low self-esteem, a lot of individuals will do that. Oftentimes, back when I was in different places in the past, I used to catch myself with low self-esteem and start spiraling, putting myself into a series of depression. Just because of the fact that I would think of one thing and then I would think of another thing that would make that seem bad. And then I would think of another thing to make what I just thought of seem worse. And then it would just keep going and going, and it would be eventually just spiraling. Everything would be coming down, and I would have a hard time finding a way out of it. That was until I started giving myself those love affirmations, until I started believing in who I am rather than trying to portray what I thought that people wanted me to be. When I started saying, fuck you, Spooby, when you start not caring about what other people think of you and worry more about what it is that you are doing, where it is that you are going in life, and making sure that you keep up with your goals, your aspirations, and not letting anybody tell you otherwise. Because in all honesty, when it comes down to that self-worth, it is you loving you. You know who you are. And if you don't think that you know who you are, you need to sit down and really think about the things that you enjoy doing. The times that when it was that you had the most fun, when it was that made you the happiest, things that had made you sad, you need to learn yourself. With that, you need to also make sure you put your foot down and start having boundaries also. Because there's going to be a lot of individuals who come around and try to purposely upset you. They want to see a reaction out of you. They want to try and get you out of your character. You need to know how to navigate these situations. You have to learn how to move accordingly. For my sister said it once before, if anybody can bring you out of your character, they have just now made you their slave. Now, granted, I think everybody understands and knows what a slave is. No point on talking about that. As you heard me say, self-worth is a foundation. Esteem is built on top of that. So you have your self-worth, which will be right here. This is you loving yourself. Then your self-esteem is going to stack on top of that. That self-esteem is going to grow and build based off of different experiences that you have had throughout life. That's one of the things that's going to mold who you are as an individual. So the way that your parents were talking to you when you were younger, that right there will positively or negatively affect your self-esteem. You getting picked on in school will positively or negatively affect your self-esteem. There's a lot of things that happen in people's lives that affects their self-esteem. But if you have that self-worth foundation already laid down and you know who you are, you can stand firm in your truth. You're not going to question things that people are saying. You're not going to wonder like, oh, am I ugly? Oh man, can I do this? I mean, I'm constantly trying and trying and trying, and I just don't think that I'm able to do it. You know what? They run a lot faster than me. I'm never going to be able to run as fast as them. They're stronger than me. I don't think I can lift that much. When you doubt yourself like that, you are lowering your self-esteem. You have to know your self-worth. Your self-worth ultimately is what's going to elevate you past other people, because everybody in the world they have their fears on things. And that's honestly one of the things that stops a lot of people from doing the things that they want to do or feel that they need to be doing. They're afraid of failing before they even begin. Ask yourself this. I'm sure you're probably going to say no, but are you afraid to fail? Majority of y'all probably just said no. Perfectly fine. But then when you start thinking about your goals and the things that you want to do in life, I guarantee you your palms probably start sweating a little bit, thinking about how much time you may waste or what people may think about you. We all are afraid to fail, whether you admit it or not. The biggest thing that you can do is to try. You have to go forward with it. Because if you give up before you even attempted it, you have put yourself into a box and starting to lower your self-esteem and beat yourself up and thinking of all the what ifs, and telling yourself that you're not good enough. When the whole time, in another reality, you're sitting there accomplished in everything that you set out for, but you're not getting it in this reality because of the fact that you never put forth the effort. Do not allow anybody to tell you that you're not good enough. And even if they do not believe them. Tell yourself on the daily, you are smart, you are beautiful, you are lovely, you are strong. You can accomplish all things that get put in front of you. We are living in a time right now where a lot of people have low self-esteem because they're listening to individuals who want what they have or see in them what they're capable of when you don't see it in yourself. It hurts to say, and it's sad to say, we are our biggest critic. We ourselves put ourselves down the most. Now with it, there's 4 types of self-worth. You have the identity. The identity is who you think you are and what you think people think of you. Now, with that, I'm going to tie this into the story I started off with. At the time, as I stated, the Marines was my identity. The Marines at the time, was everything that I thought that I was. I thought I was a lean, mean, green, hardcore fight machine. I had that discipline, that instant willingness, obedience to all orders. You told me to do something, I did it. There was no questions asked. And with that, that is not who I was. My identity was not a Marine. My identity is, I'm not putting my whole government name out there, but that is me. What I am, that I am. Where I allowed myself to get messed up and where I moved my foundation was trying to become something that I'm not. And with me trying to become something that I'm not, who I am, my self-worth and my values and my beliefs were fighting what it was that I was trying to do. I'm not a meathead. I love to work out, but I'm not one to pick up heavy things, put it back down, pick it back up, put it back down. Granted, all you meatheads out there, eat your protein, do what you do. No negative words on you. No negative words on you at all. But that's not who I am. And if that's who you are, so be it. If you think that is all that you are, look at yourself. Because I mean, later on down the line, when you in like your 70s and all that protein is sagging and you look like somebody's deflated boneless chicken from Cow and Chicken, that's all on you, bro. No disrespect, but my identity is not a Marine, and that is probably the first issue that I had. I was fighting myself trying to become something that I was not. So therefore, when that identity got taken away from me, I was lost. And then with everything else that came with it, that threw me off even more. So now that my identity was gone, or what I thought my identity was taken away, where I felt that I was not anything, that I was not worth anything. That's when it fell into the next trait of self-worth, self-confidence. Self-confidence is the beliefs of what you can do. My identity was gone. I didn't feel like I was a Marine anymore. My self-confidence started to drop. From being a leader to now feeling like I am being made as an example. It's hard to be confident in a situation like that. My mindset was already cracked. My identity was gone. So now the shell of what I was slowly starting to crumble. Moving into the next trait, the self-esteem. With my confidence constantly going down, my self-esteem, what do you think it was? Do you think my self-esteem was high? Do you think my self-esteem was low? Do you think I was sitting there with a cracked frame with my identity being gone, my self-confidence starting to wither away a little bit? You think my self-esteem was like, yeah, I got this. It is what it is, whatever. We got this. No. My guy, my gal. My self-esteem was so low because, mind you, remember, I'm going through a divorce. Everybody who I thought was my friend had already abandoned me and ran to her side, not knowing everything that happened. So now I'm left alone. My staff sergeant thought that would already be a difficult time, so he moved me out of all those that I knew and I was comfortable around, my junior Marines and the ones that were above me, to a place to where now I'm new and I don't know anybody there. Really, don't really know anybody there. We have new sailors and Marines coming through dang near every 2 weeks. So I felt alone. Then for a situation like this to happen, be put on out in front of everybody almost to be made an example out of, my self-esteem was the lowest of low, to the point where I didn't care anymore on if I had passed away. Like if I was unalived, if I wanted to unalive myself, to be honest with you. I felt as if I had nothing to live for. There might be some people out there right now who feel they have nothing to live for. Just know that there's always something to live for. You're just having a moment right now to where you cannot see clear. You're having difficulty seeing the brighter side of the situation. You're having difficulty understanding how all that's happening right now is going to play a part in you being better in the future. Like I said earlier, that minor setback is a possibility for a major come up. I was talking to Mr. Not So Nice guy the other day, and I told him, I was like, look, everything that happens for a reason. You might not understand how it's good right now, but later on in life, you'll see how it played a major part in getting you to where you are now. And then you might be able to sit back like that gospel song. Never would have made it. Never could have made it. Rolling into self-compassion. And to answer your question, my self-esteem was very low. Self-compassion. How you think about yourself when bad things happen. Self-compassion. When bad things are happening to you, especially if they're coming back to back, it's very difficult to think in a positive way, to be optimistic about a situation when it seems like everything that you're doing, you're just getting torn down more and more and more and more. And then for a bird to randomly come and just poop on your head, and then you just lose it. You lose everything. You just flip the fuck out. That self-compassion, you got to be able to sit there and tell yourself it's going to be okay. You have to even understand that you may have made a mistake or things may be unfair, to be able to give yourself that love. A lot of us are able to give love to others, but it's hard for us to give love and empathy back to ourselves. We have to be able to pick ourselves up, not rely on others to pick us up. We have to know how to look at ourselves, see ourselves crying in the mirror, listen to the things that we're saying, and be able to reverse it. Sometimes you have to do reverse psychology on yourself. You have to sit there and, even though you're arguing with yourself and tell yourself you're not good enough, I can never do this and this right. Okay, well, what can you do right? All right, yeah, you may have gotten a DUI, but at the same time, at least you had the moral courage to stand up and inform them, to let them know. You could have been like anybody else and try and let it slide up under the rug and not say anything, possibly causing more damage in the long run. But you did the right thing. Okay, cool. Yeah. You may have a cavity and you lost your tooth, but at the same time, is that going to stop you from smiling? Nah. You still got a bigger smile than half the people that are around you. Okay. You're behind on your rent. What are you doing to try and get the money to go ahead and pay that? Look at that. You are a born hustler. You do anything that you need to do to make sure that you or your family is good. Your tire blew out on your car. You're stranded on the side of the highway. Man, I ain't got the money to do this. Fuck, it doesn't seem like I got the money to do anything. Why do these bad things keep happening to me? I just got done doing this and this last week. Now this happens to me this week. Man, what the heck's gonna happen next? You know what? Reverse that around. Yeah, that happened last week, but I was able to get it situated. Oh man, what am I gonna do about this tire? All right, you know what? First of all, my phone's still working. Let me call somebody, see if they can come over. Maybe they got a jack. Maybe they got a donut that just so happens to be able to fit this, where I can take it to where I need to go, or be able to run on the donut, do some door dashing to get extra money, so I can go ahead and get another tire. We got to change our mindset. We gotta give that self compassion to ourselves. We gotta let ourselves know the things that we do right. We're so worried and so hard on ourselves, beating ourselves down on a day to day, talking about the things that we do wrong. Switch it up. Talk about the things that you do right. That's what we need to do. Talk about the things that we do right. Stop telling ourselves all the things that we do bad. Oh, we can't do nothing right. Tell yourself all the things that you do right. Tell yourself of how many times you have accomplished things that you thought you would not be able to accomplish. Give yourself that love back. Give yourself that love back. Back to that story at the very beginning. When it came down to the self-compassion, I stayed strong. I informed my gunny. I let him know what had happened. With that, he saw that, you know what, we all make mistakes. I have to do what I need to do and run that up the chain. But I appreciate you for coming to do that. That right there, I was able to tell myself, see, look at that. Everything that's going on, I still have integrity. I still have that. I'm still able to do the right thing even when no one is looking, no matter what the consequences are going to be. I was able to remind myself of who I am. It almost put like a little bit of duct tape over that crack that was going in my identity. My self-worth was still there. I knew who I was. I was finding myself again. I still had those values and those belief systems from when I was young growing up, and I held on to those. It came back down to the foundation, self-worth, that foundation. I'm not gonna lie. After that NJP, I did feel like a failure. I felt like I couldn't do anything wrong. That was the self-esteem. Like I said, I had that low self-esteem from everything that had happened. I felt like I was a failure in relationships. Maybe I should just be alone. I felt that, you know what, how can I lead anybody if I'm always constantly making mistakes? Made a mistake in the marriage, made a mistake right here, getting the DUI, made a mistake on just being put out as an example. I don't even know who the fuck I am anymore. Shoot, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles on land and earth and sea. How can I even do that when I can't even battle the demons that was going on in my head at the time? Others could see it, but I couldn't even recognize it in myself. I was having a full-on war with myself and didn't even recognize it. I had a fog of war moments in myself. I was clouded by all the things that were going on that I could not realize that I was losing myself. I was lost, so lost. And I didn't feel like I had anybody who I could turn to, anyone that I could talk to, because it just felt like everybody was against me, to the point where even I was against myself. We live in a time where your status defines a lot of people's self-worth. How much money you make, what is your job, what do you do? It's sad. But hey, first of all, I want to go ahead and say, for anybody who is out there, anybody who is listening, if you are having difficulties with understanding who you are, understanding what your worth is, your value, take the time to sit down and write. Write down everything that goes through your head. I had a buddy of mine tell me that he sat down, had a notebook, and for 2 weeks, he wrote down everything that was going through his mind on the hour. Every hour on the hour, he was writing down what was going through his head. It gave him a lot of clarity onto the way that his mind works. And he learned a lot more about himself. So anybody who is having difficulties with their self-worth, their value, what they feel that their value is to the world, try that. I started that process, and I'm not gonna lie, I got a little scared. I stopped, but I'm about to jump back on it, just because of the fact that the things that you learn about yourself without even trying, without understanding what you're doing, to go back and read these things and understand how much more up you are than you thought you were, to understand how you think, how your subconscious is moving, and to realize the things that you need to work on, things that you need to fix. That is a good place to start. Some people may call it shadow work, going in deeper, finding out things where your traumas and all that is. I call it knowing yourself. Knowing yourself, getting to know yourself, and loving yourself. Because they say you can't love somebody else if you don't love yourself. And the only way that you can love yourself is to know what your flaws are, love and appreciate those flaws as well. Just like how you would want someone to love you and all your flaws and all your baggage that you most likely are bringing that you probably ain't talking about, that they're going to find out later on down the road about anyway. You need to do that to yourself. Love yourself. Give yourself that compassion. Give yourself those affirmations. The same way for all you codependent individuals out there, the same way that you try and uplift others, uplift yourself. There's a lot of times where people are telling people all these uplifting, positive things, and they have a hard time even doing those things to themselves. They'll tell other people how nice they look, or, oh, you smell good. But at the same time, they're telling themselves, oh, I'm ugly, or I could never do that. I love you. I love me some you as well, okay? I love me some you as well. But no, true talk, no lie. Practice what you preach. The things that you are telling other people, tell yourself those things too. I mean, if you're one of those individuals who's always gossiping and saying all these negative things about people, I'm sure you probably are saying those things to yourself too. Or either you like, man, I don't know why this person look like that. You look in the mirror and you're like, probably projecting, so be it. But we need to work on giving ourselves that love and that compassion. There's a lot of individuals who are giving it to other. They are pouring out their cup onto others, and then not even trying to refill their own cup. Treat yourself like all you can eat buffet. Keep getting more, get more, get more, get more. If you end up giving something out, you need to give yourself some more. For every one that goes out, give yourself two. You tell someone they're beautiful, tell yourself, you know what, I'm a handsome motherfucker. Ooh, these pants is looking right on me. Like, give yourself two for every one that you give out. You need to make sure that you get into the habit of refilling your own cup. Do not rely on other people to do it for you, because then you're going to mess around and lose yourself. Because we are living in a time where a lot of people want to take, and nobody want to give. So you need to give to yourself. Do not lose yourself trying to create someone else. I say that again. Do not lose yourself trying to create someone else. Do not fill everybody else up to the point to where you are left empty, frail, and lost. Because what happens is when you lose who you are, I was on a podcast episode last Thursday. We talked about yo-yo mentality. With that, he brought up a good point. What do you do when you cut that string? And the answer that we all had was you have to start brand new. One of the hard things about starting brand new is you don't know where to start. When you realize that all that was not working, you don't know what to do, how to start. And he said it all comes back down to who you are, the foundation, your self-worth. Your values, beliefs, and stuff may change, but your self-worth that right there will be solid. Just like how you build a house. You need to build a house on a solid foundation. If the foundation is a little wobbly or crooked, that house is going to be wobbly and crooked too. Work and focus on you. And with that, I'm going to leave this right here. I thank everybody who listened to this. Hope y'all got a little something from it. Leave some feedback, comment, share it. Tell me how horrible I am. Anything will work. I just want to know what I can possibly work on to be better. I want to know what I can do to be better. I want to know what resonated with you. I want to know what you completely said. F you on, you suck. It's going to bring a smile to my face just knowing that someone was there listening. And with that, I say relax your mind. It's divine time.